Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the United States, which is midday in Australia, or 1 a.m. if you're in the UK. Do you remember though, if you miss the live streams, you can watch them at any time by clicking the videos tab at the top of my stream page. You can watch the old streams that way. It's good to see you guys, Sniper Echo and Smurfberry Barbecue and Crosswind. I hope you guys had a good Christmas and New Year. Happy New Christmas year. It's good to see you guys. I hope you're well. About time, Smurfberry says. Hey, I got to take a break occasionally. You know, I've got a lot going on at the moment. I need my downtime. It's great to see you too, Sniper Echo. It's good to see all you guys. Yeah, I hope your Christmas was good and I hope your New Year's was good. I hope you didn't eat too much or drink too much. I did, but anyway, I didn't drink. Actually, no, I did. I drank a little bit, actually, more than I normally do. As you guys know, I don't normally drink, but New Year's Eve, I had 2 bottles of wine to myself. Can you believe that? 2 bottles of wine I drank on my own. Well, I wasn't on my own, but I drank 2 bottles to myself. And the next day, did I feel terrible? Anyway, that's what New Year's is about. But aside from that, yes, I'm good. I caught up on a lot of TV shows and some movies that I wanted to watch, so that was good. Finally watched the 4th season of The Expanse, which I enjoyed. It was okay, you know, it's good. I liked the first 3 seasons a little bit better, but the 4th season wasn't too bad. They just spent too much time on that planet, that's all. Aside from that, that's still a great show. What else did I do? I watched the entire Witcher series as well on Netflix. That was just okay. Watched Zombieland 2, which wasn't as good as Zombieland 1. Never is. So yeah, no, it was good. Nice relaxing break. Sniper says 2 bottles. Yeah, we saw the pictures. Yeah, no, you're not going to get any pictures of me passed out on the bed with drool coming out of my mouth. No. Which is what it was like the next day. This is why I don't drink, because I've forgotten just how bad a hangover feels. Like, you know, really when you're really dehydrated and your head is aching. And, that's why I don't drink it anymore. Except for special occasions like Melbourne Cup and New Year's Eve. But it was okay. It was a good night. Still can't believe I drank 2 bottles of my own though. Man. Alright, what are we doing? Oh, that's right, it's been so long I forgot. What are we doing? We're working on the bedroom, the master bedroom for the House in the Hollow game, which is now available to wishlist on Steam. Just doing that, throwing that out there. Yeah, the studio, we set the Steam page live for the game, so it's all good to go. We send out some press releases and we got some good coverage that way, which is very nice of those guys and girls at all the different gaming magazines that covered the game. So the wish lists are going well. Smurfberry says, Sniper says, I think you just gave us a picture right then. That's right, I did. Imagine Phil passed out on his back, head to the side and drool coming out of his mouth. That's what I was like. Smurfberry says, the bathroom that goes inside the bedroom. Oh, come on. You want me to put a toilet in the bedroom, do you? Why don't we just put a toilet in every room like Homer Simpson wants? We'll put one in the kitchen, we'll put 2 in the bathroom because you never know. Smurfberry says adjacent to the kitchen. Well, we have to have one in the kitchen, I think. Sniper Echo agrees with Smurfberry. Oh, I'm going to sort them out. Sniper says, did you have to send them a demo of the game? No, I didn't. I sent out a general press release saying that the game was announced and that it was available to wishlist on Steam. And I also mentioned the fact that I won that NVIDIA award for the cinematic, and they printed that press release. So what we're planning on doing is between now and the end of the year, when the game is due to be released officially, provided we stay on track, I'll send out press releases gradually after we start updating more content for the game. Not every game website published a press release, but that's just the way it goes. You send out a heap of them, you know, throw them to the wind, and then they get picked up by a few. And I was happy with the number of games websites that actually did print coverage of the game, so it was good. But no, there is the demo of the game. No, there's only one company that's getting the demo of the game at the moment. It's all internal builds, and then there's one company that I send a demo to once every month or so. Smurfberry says, "Why does your jaw hurt, Phil? Did you get into a fist fight?" No, it's from talking, because I'm not used to talking so much. Now that I'm back streaming again, my jaws are, I can feel it. That's why it's sore. It's not sore, it's just I can feel it. Sniper says, "I must go looking for these releases. Could be good reading." You can go looking for them. They are, just do a search for The House in the Hollow. Actually, let's do that now, because I'm curious. So if we go to Google and we type The House in the Hollow, you'll get this place which is some haunted attraction. But if you go down here, you see the Steam store page here. But this is the actual knowledge panel, as Google calls it, for the House in the Hollow game, which is a link to the Steam store page. And if you go to the news section, you can read up about the different gaming websites that have covered the game here. And some of them had some really nice things to say, so I was pleased. One website said possibly the best looking game for 2020, or they do every year a top 10 or 20 best looking games. And they said that it's in the running for the best looking game of 2020, to be in that list of the best looking games of 2020. That's what I'm trying to say. So that was nice of them. A couple of them said some really nice stuff. There was one that said not so nice stuff, but that's just that guy's website, the way he talks and the way he covers games. This one, I think, One Angry Gamer, that was probably the worst review. How you can review something really that hasn't been released is beyond me, but anyway. I think he said something like, it's down here behind me. You can't see it. It's One Angry Gamer is the game's website. He said it possibly could have a small but dedicated following, stuff like that. But One Angry Gamer, that's I think his stick. And I don't think I did my intro, did I? No, I didn't. I forgot. Or did I? No, I did. It's first day back streaming after 3 weeks. Come on. Sniper says, "Not used to talking." Did I? Yes, I know. You know that I'm a motor mouth and I normally talk constantly. But because I've been on break and I haven't been doing work for either the game studio or for the ArchViz studio, I haven't had meetings. I haven't had to go and talk to people, so I haven't had to talk to a lot of people. I've been binge watching TV and movies. I've been a real couch potato because I wanted to take a break because I've been very tired. Working at 2 different studios is really taking its toll. As you guys know, a few years ago I got sick because I spread myself too thin. So I decided that this holiday, this is why I didn't go and visit my family up in Queensland, my relatives, because I wanted to take a break and recharge. But it means I haven't been used to talking, so now that I am talking, my jaw hurts. That makes sense, doesn't it? So yes, I was happy with the press coverage, which was good. Sent out a lot of press releases. Like I said, though, probably about all the press releases I sent out, probably maybe 20% got an article published. So that's if you're going to be launching a game, that's generally what you can expect. The same with wishlisting. When people start to wishlist your game on Steam, generally you'll convert about 10% of those wish lists into actual sales. So don't think if you get 1,000 wish lists, you're going to get 1,000 sales when the game is released from wish lists. Generally from 1,000, you probably get 100 sales. So just for those people that might release something on Steam and say, "Oh wow, look at all these people wish listing it. It's going to be awesome when I release." You only get about a 10% conversion. What are we doing? Oh, that's right. We are working on the bookcase that goes into the master bedroom. And I think from memory, last week when we finished off, we were UV mapping it in Ryzen. We've almost finished UV mapping it. Shouldn't take us too long to finish it off. And then we can take it into Substance Painter and do some texturing. Actually, I've got to texture up the doors as well. I should probably only have to do one door, and we can then just duplicate it for the other cabinets. I actually had these attached, but I'll leave them attached for now, but I'm going to have to detach these doors as well so they can be opened. But I'm going to do that for a lot of furniture in the game at the moment. Most of the furniture I haven't done that for, so I will be doing that once I finish setting up the different rooms. And once I finish doing the pass on the actual manor building, we will be moving to the exterior and doing some locations in the exterior for the game. Let's keep texture mapping now. Basically, any of the ones that haven't got a yellow line around them are ones that have not been UV mapped yet. So that's how we can tell. I'm going to do these separately because these are fiddly bits of geometry, and the program might get confused if I try and do them all at once. Actually, the new Substance Painter, I have installed a new version, and it can actually do automatic unwrapping now, which you guys knew. We were talking about it before I went on break. I haven't actually used it yet, but that's a cool feature. So you don't probably, maybe, don't need a program like Rhizome anymore if you don't want to do your UV mapping by hand in your 3D program. If you get Substance Painter with no UVs assigned, it should automatically unwrap them for you. Now, how good it is, I don't know. I did watch a couple of YouTube videos on guys testing it out. Didn't seem to do too bad a job. I'll probably continue to use Rhizome simply because I like to have a bit more control over the unwrap. While it's nice to get the program to automatically do it for you, which is basically what Rhizome is doing here. At least with Rhizome, I have a bit more control over how it does the unwrap, and if I want to, I can then go in and weld seams and all that sort of stuff, which you can't get with the automatic unwrap in Substance Painter, which is fair enough. It's a new feature. It was introduced to simplify unwrapping for people when they import their model. So I get that, that's all good. But I probably will use Rhizome simply because, number one, I own the software, and number two, I've got a bit more control over how it gets unwrapped, which I like. It didn't do a great job there, so let's try one of the others. And that should probably do for what we want. So yes, by all means, I'm not saying don't use the unwrap tool in Substance Painter. For sure, it's included in the software. If you own the software or you have a subscription to the software, you'd be silly not to try and use it, see what it gives you, what sort of results you get, as opposed to buying another third-party program. I'm just making sure everything is correct, that my mic isn't muted, my music is playing, because it's been so long since I've streamed. I just never know whether I've forgotten something. But I'm sure you guys would tell me. See, now again, this one is not using the same algorithm as the last one, didn't unwrap correctly. So let's see if we can get a better result. Nope. Contigi, actually, let me catch up with the chat here. Smurper says I'm like several updates behind on Painter. And Contigi, hey to you too. How are you? Did you have a good Christmas and New Year? Contigi, thank you for the sub, the 9-month subscription. That's incredibly good of you. Thank you so much, Contigi. I do appreciate the sub to the channel. I appreciate it when you guys sub to me. Helps me keep things going and rocking along. So thanks for that, Contigi, and I hope you're well, and I hope you had a good Christmas and New Year. Sniper Echo says I need to try 20 to see what feature it has, or 2, I think you mean. I don't know, maybe 20. Yeah, it's good to see you though, Contigi, and like I said, I hope you did have a good Christmas and New Year. Didn't drink too much, didn't eat too much. I drank too much over New Year, I was telling the guys, and I paid for it the next day. Let's try another unwrap algorithm here. That'll give us a better unwrap. I don't think we're going to get a better unwrap than that. And again, I want to point out with this model, the back is open because there's no point in us doubling the poly count for the back side of this bookcase decorative swirl when it's never going to be seen in the game. So it's just an easy way for us to make sure we reduce the poly count as much as we can. That's the reason it's open. You do have to be careful though with an open mesh in the game engine, because sometimes you can get light leakage from behind. We'll have to look when we bring it into the game whether that's going to be an issue for us or not. And if it is, then I will close the mesh at the back. So sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. Just got to be well aware that you might get light leakage. Leakage sounds rude, doesn't it? Getting leakage. Okay, I'll get my mind out of the gutter now. Android Lust, it's good to see you, Android Lust. How are you? Did you have a good Christmas and New Year? I've got to ask everyone as they pop in because I want to know. I hope you did. Again, I did, but I drank too much on New Year's Eve and I paid for it the next day. But I hope you're well. I hope everything's going good. And it's good to see you. Good to see all you guys. I was afraid you might have forgotten about me after 3 weeks. And that would have made me sad. Let's do these ones. Android Lust says, yeah, I had a pretty good holiday. Good to hear. You guys know that we've been going through some pretty bad bushfires in this country. And thank you for all your warm questions on the Discord server. Yes, no, I'm completely safe. I'm in Melbourne, which is one of the major cities in Australia. And I live in the inner city, so I'm pretty safe. Having said that, the city is completely covered in smoke because it's all been blowing from inland over the city. It's been like that for weeks. So you can't see, virtually more than a half a mile for you American people. After a half a mile, everything is just in this grey, smoky haze. It's disgusting. Now, the air quality is really bad. I mean, they've been telling people in Melbourne to stay indoors, to not go outside because the air quality is that bad. On the air index, I think we're at a 4 and it only goes up to a 5, and 4 is normally for places like China. So Melbourne, the air quality is terrible. So if you've got asthma or allergies, it's not good news for you if you live in Melbourne. And the bushfires have been really bad. I mean, dozens of people have been killed, thousands of homes have been destroyed, hundreds of thousands of hectares of land have been burnt, 500 million animals have been killed. Not to put a downer on the stream, but it's really bad. And the animals that are left alive have nothing to eat because everything's been burnt out. So if they manage to survive the fire, they're going to starve to death. So the government have been dropping food from planes and helicopters in the bushland to try and feed them. Not good. And they're saying as a result there may be species that have been completely wiped out that have become extinct basically because of the fires. And I'm going to get on my soapbox now because it makes me angry. This is global warming. Now, freaking politicians in this country, the ones that are in charge, the Liberal Party, our federal politicians, don't believe in climate change. They want to dig up as much coal as they can. They want to burn as much coal as they can. That's the shit that's causing global warming. That's the reason we're having these problems. And it's making a lot of Australians incredibly angry now because they see that they voted for them. The majority of the population voted them in. But now they're seeing the result of what their policies are. And the result of their policies is that they're effing up our environment, excuse my French. They're going to cause major problems for all of us around the world. Now, it's a problem in Australia here at the moment because we're in summer. It's going to be a problem in the United States when you come to summer. It's going to be a problem in Europe when you go into summer. It's a worldwide problem. And our politicians, at least in this country, just refuse to see what is going on. So our Prime Minister has been copping a lot of crap from people in this country, but people whose houses are burnt to the ground, you know? And families who have lost relatives because they've died in the fire. It's, man, I just don't get it. I don't get these people. I really don't. The politicians, that is. Makes me incredibly angry. Anyway, Sniper says, yeah, I was glad to hear you weren't adversely affected by the fire. Smippery says, that's what California was like not that long before I moved to the East Coast. Oh, well, I remember before we went into summer, when you guys in the US were in summer, and California had all those wildfires burning, and they were large wildfires as well over a large area. And they, yeah, at least the media are saying it's global warming now, you know. Maybe if the media harp on it enough and us, the public, bitch and whinge and complain and don't vote our politicians back in that don't believe in climate change, things will change. We can but hope. Otherwise, I hate to think what sort of world we're going to be living in the next 10 to 15 years. It's just going to be, I don't know what it will be. It's just going to be terrible, really terrible. You know, it'll get to the stage where no one will be able to go outside. That's what it's going to happen. That's what will happen. Floods will get, because it's not just fire, of course, flooding. It makes flooding much worse as well. You've only got to look around the world at all the floods that happen in cities to see what's going on. So, Android Lost says, internet is being dumb, but glad the fires didn't affect you besides the horrible smoke. Yes, and the smoke is terrible. Okay, I've got my house completely closed up, my apartment completely closed up because I don't want the smoke in here, and I can still smell it. So, yeah, but that burning fire smell, you know what it's like. It's not nice. And I certainly don't want to go out and breathe it. Sniper Echo says, I have some friends down there outside Eden, or Eden was hit bad, that lost their homes. Yeah, Eden, well, beautiful spot Eden actually was. And it will be again. It will grow back, hopefully. The bushland, that is, the forest. But, yeah, I know, Eden was hit pretty hard. And a lot of people, a lot of tourists were trapped in these areas in the country as well, because Australians like to go, inner city people that live in a city like to go into the country for a whole, for their Christmas break or their New Year's break. They like to get back to nature sort of thing, which is what I do. You guys know, the middle of every year, I take a few weeks off and go into a cabin in the woods because I like to get away from everything as well. So all of these tourists, thousands of tourists were trapped in these areas because the bushfires cut off the roads. You couldn't get out. So all these tourists had to go to the ocean side, and the fire was approaching the actual ocean. So the government eventually, our Prime Minister eventually, sent one of our Navy ships to go and pick these people up and take them via sea to a safe spot further down from where the fires were. Oh, but, he was in Hawaii, of all places, while these fires started and were burning. He took his family to Hawaii. So that's how much our Prime Minister cared about the population of this country. And that's why he's copping a lot of shit as well. Sniper says, well said, Phil. Yeah, I'll get off my soapbox now. It just makes me so angry. It really does. I mean, so angry. Really angry. Smokeberry says, Israel just had a big dump of rain that flooded their F-16 hangars. Rest in peace. You're going to see more of that. I mean, with temperatures rising, global warming means hotter and it means hot weather and worse floods. And a whole heap of other stuff as well, mixed into the mix. None of it good. So, yeah, not good. Android Lust says, I saw a few videos of the fire and it looked like hell there. The fire was spreading faster than I expected. Yeah, it's because of the winds too, because the global warming increases the wind speed when we do have hot weather. So we get like 90 kilometre to 100 kilometre an hour winds, hot, not cold winds, hot winds. that blow across the continent, and which basically turns fire into like a liquid. So fire will spread like liquid spreads. That's how quickly it moves. And because a lot of our forests are what they call eucalyptus trees, and eucalyptus trees contain eucalyptus oil, when they go up like a blowtorch. So as soon as they start to catch fire, they just burst into flames. So if you look at the footage that you see when the news organisations show you the fires in Australia, look at the trees. Like the tree could be that tall. The fire is like twice the height of the tree, and that's because of all this eucalyptus oil that's in the actual tree. It just goes up like a blowtorch, and that's why it spreads really quickly in this country as well. In our we call it bushland forests for you guys in the US or Europe. So you're right, Android Lust, it does. It spreads very quickly, particularly with the winds and the eucalyptus trees. Sniper Echo says, who's that guy that was doing the forced handshake? Yeah, that's the Prime Minister. The one with the fat gut. That's the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister in this country. The one with the glasses. Scott Morrison is his name. So if you guys want to write an email to Mr. Morrison here saying what a terrible job he's doing with global warming, go right ahead. I won't stop you. It's terrible. It is terrible. That's our Prime Minister that you would have been seeing on the news, shaking hands and having people tell him to F off, which was on, I think it was CNN I was watching when they did a report, and they showed a couple of the locals telling him to F off because he'd been because he wasn't around. He was in Hawaii on holidays to begin with, and then he took weeks to actually do anything to help these people. So I don't blame them for being quite annoyed. I would be as well. Well, I am, and I don't live in these places, but I see the result of what's happening, so. Makes me angry. So angry. Angry Phil. I think this one was the one we used to unwrap on this, I think, remembering. I could be wrong. Yes. Yeah, Sniper says, I saw reports of a fire that was 80 metres high. Yeah, they've been huge. The flames have been... I can't imagine being trapped in them because they've been massive. Like a combination of these oily eucalyptus trees and these really fast winds, high-speed winds, that push the flames to incredible sizes. It's just been phenomenal. And it's because it's happening in so many places in Australia, like right along the east coast. There is some along the west coast. I think about the only place that is, and the south coast. The only place that doesn't have fires at the moment in Australia is the north, because it's wet up there. It's closer to the equator, so they get a lot of rain. But basically, all of the bottom half of Australia has fires burning along the coastline. None in the interior, because the interior is a desert. Yeah. So you're right. Yes, 80 metres high would not surprise me. And like I said, 500 million animals have been killed. Just terrible. All of our little koalas. You know our cute little koalas that you guys love and we love, those cute little fuzzy koalas? There's a chance that in certain areas they may be completely wiped out. And if they haven't been, they've been getting a lot of animals in that have been really badly burnt. And if they're too badly burnt, they've got to be euthanized because they can't be brought back to health. It's not a good situation all around. Really not. Andrew Doss says, yeah, I was wondering why the fires were so high. That's the reason why, yeah. It's the trees, the eucalyptus oil in the trees that make up the forests here in Australia. Snowberry says it puts more energy into the system, so humidity, wind, temperature, all of that moves around more and becomes more powerful. It amplifies everything, so you get stronger storms, stronger droughts. Yep, that's right. Everything, just like you said, gets amplified. So instead of a small flood, you have a large flood. Instead of a small drought, you have a large drought. Not to mention what higher temperatures during summer do to your body. Your body is not equipped to deal with extreme high temperature. You know, you sweat, right? But once your internal body temperature reaches a certain temperature threshold, no matter how much you sweat, it's not going to cool you down. Your body can only do so much to try and cool you down. So heat is really bad for your body. Really bad. Extreme cold is bad for you as well. I'm not just singling out heat here. But it makes extremes of both. Like Smurfberry says, it's just extreme cold, extreme hot, extreme flood, extreme wind. It's not good all around. Smurfberry says, I care about the wombats more than the koalas. Oh, what's wrong with the koalas? The koalas are so cute. They're so cute. How could you not like a koala? The wombats are cute too. And the echidnas. The echidnas are cute as well. They're all cute. And they all don't deserve to be burnt to death because our politicians refuse to do anything about global warming. It's not the animals' fault. It's the people's fault. And that makes it even worse. I mean, I've been heartened to see all the protests. We had some big protests here the other day, last week, in the city of Melbourne and all around the country, protesting global warming and our politicians' refusal to do anything to fix it. So there are people that care. It's just we've got to get our politicians to care. That's the problem. I don't even think it's a question of them not caring. I think it's a question of who gives them the money. You know, whoever lobbies them, as they do in the United States. You know how you get people lobbying your Congress people, big business. That's what it is in this country. It's mining companies that give big cash donations to politicians, so politicians do what the mining companies want. Basically, what it boils down to, and it sucks. Means we've all got to suffer just because some asshole miners want more profits at the expense of us and the environment. Oh, Phil's angry today. Phil's angry. Okay, I'll calm down now. Because nobody came to my stream to listen to Phil rant and rave. Android Love says, honestly, I was a bit nervous for you, Phil. I saw Melbourne isn't that close to New South Wales or Northwest, but I thought you left Melbourne for the... No, I didn't. I stayed in Melbourne for the holidays. I generally every year fly up to Queensland for Christmas and New Year because that's where my relatives, my family are, my sister, my brother. Actually, my brother lives in Albury-Wodonga, which has been hit by bushfires. He's safe. But my sister lives in Queensland and she lives on the coastline, so... And I normally go there for Christmas, but this year I decided to stay in Melbourne and have friends around to my apartment for a Christmas lunch, and that's what I did this year. So yeah, no. I was safe. I'm safe in Melbourne here. I hope they get them out though by the time the mid-year comes. Like, you guys know I go to my cabin in the woods. Actually, so I hope the fires are not still around when that happens, because I don't want to risk being in a cabin in the middle of the forest when there's a chance I might get... That's the middle of winter though, so generally we get a lot of rain then, so it should be okay. But I'll play it by ear when June, July comes as to whether I'll go to my cabin or not. Whether I'll do my retreat or not. I'll be annoyed if I can't, because I really do like getting out of Melbourne, getting back to nature, getting away from technology, all that sort of thing. 'Cause It's my only chance to recharge. Well, that in Christmas, but I need to recharge every 6 months. That didn't do a great unwrap, so let's see if we can find something better. And that did an even worse job. That should work. We know when it works for one, it'll work for the others with the same shape, so that's good. I'm going to come back to that. I'm not sure what's going on there. Why did you do that? Oh, okay, it looks like there's separate pieces that I might not have unwrapped yet. So I was thinking, why did that unwrap in such a strange way? That's a bit better. Okay, let's see if there's anything I've forgotten. I think there might be a couple of bits and pieces. Looks like we might have some... Again, I think these are... Actually, I know what these are. You know how we had the arched pieces that were missing some polygons? That's what these are. These are the polygons that were missing from the arches. I rebuilt the arches, so they're all nice and clean now. So what I'll do is, when I jump back into Max, I'm just going to do a bit of a cleanup on this model, because it looks like we might have a couple of polys floating in the air there. What I need to do first is make sure we've actually UV mapped everything. I think I have the handles to do. Let's see if we can get a different result from a different unwrap. I think that's a better unwrap. We're getting a little bit of stretching happening at the tops here, but not enough to worry about, I don't think. It should be fine. So let's just go through and do all of our handles. There we go. Wondering why I didn't do an unwrap. handle. Let's try this one. Again, a little bit of stretching on the ends, but not enough to worry about. Because the handles are actually going to be metal. We're going to use a metallic substance on them, so if it was a pattern, it could be an issue, but it's not going to be a pattern, so it'll be fine. Okay, now let's see. I think we might have done all of these bits and pieces, but again, I'm just going to go around the model and check. We're never going to see the back, but we'll just make sure it's all correct. Okay, I think we might be good. This one's out. One out. Okay, let's jump back into Max. Now remember, we couldn't send this via the plugin, which means I'm going to have to import the model. If I can remember where I saved it. I had a folder made for it. How about that? How organized am I? And I think it's the last one, this one here, out. Now, the question is, where did Max put it? Or did it even bring it in? Not sure why Max is not importing it, but it's not. Let's re-export it in case I'm trying to do the wrong thing. Bookcase sides, RIZ for Horizon. Android DOS says, I hate having to view your stream audio only. I need to call my ISP. Oh, no, you're having those problems with your internet again, Android Lust. I'll keep talking so you've got something to listen to, at least if you can't see what's going on. I'm having a problem importing the model from Horizon into Max. I'm trying to work out why. Max looks like it does the import, but then it just doesn't seem to put it anywhere. Why would that be? Just going to make sure that it's not there under some weird name that I'm not familiar with. I don't believe it is. I should be able to see it here if it was there. Okay. Why are you doing this, Rysam? I don't generally use the export function here, so I'm just looking through it to see what it wants to do. Mesh file export OBJ, chosen. Let me just see if there is that file. I shouldn't need to do an export like that. Okay, did do an export. Let's see if we can import it. Just telling I didn't actually import the exported material for it. I was just more interested in the mesh itself. Now I'm just going to do an unwrap on it and see if it did export my UVs. Should be, they're messy because I haven't done a pack on them yet. Let's see if we can transfer them over. Isolate that. It does not look like it actually. This is what I was afraid of. Exporting it as an OBJ has changed the mesh slightly, which means I can't just paste my UVs. So let's see if we can do it another way. I'd really rather not have to fiddle around with it too much. Let me just see what's going on here. It just doesn't seem to be exporting the OBJ file for some reason. Sorry, it doesn't seem to be exporting the FBX file. The OBJ has been exported, so that's something. Let's see what I can do here. I'm going to pack the UVs from the exported OBJ version. Just give Max a minute there to work out the repack. Max is still thinking about it. There is a lot of geometry here, a lot of UVs for it to repack, so it does take Max a little while. Okay, I'm just going to assign this a plain texture map, so it's a little bit easier for us to see. I'm going to do an edit poly because the... There we go, that's better. Let's rotate it, make sure angle snap is turned on. So what I'm going to have to do, because I can't get Ryzen to export the FBX version that corresponds to what we imported into Ryzen, I'm going to have to scale this one to match and then swap them out. Getting them to line up is going to be a bit of a nightmare, but anyway. Looks like I did a non-uniform scale. Let's just undo that. Android Lost says, I've been having a lot of crashes in my 3D programs for my current project. Have you got the latest drivers for your video card, Android Lost, installed? That's my first suggestion, would be to make sure you're using the latest driver for your video card. Particularly if you're using a game engine like Unreal. They tend to like the latest version of the latest drivers for the engine, for the game engine. That's what I'm trying to say. Andrew Lust says nope. Well, look, again, I don't jump to install the latest driver as soon as it's released. I wait to see what people are saying, so I wait a couple of weeks. I have installed the newest NVIDIA Studio drivers. Now, I don't install game-ready drivers generally from NVIDIA because I have an NVIDIA graphics card. I install the Studio drivers because I find that they're a bit more stable. They've been rated to work with Unreal, with Premiere, with Max, all of the productivity software. So I tend to play it safe and just install the Studio drivers. That is, if you're an NVIDIA user. And I've just updated my Studio drivers to the latest version, which is 441.66, I think. And they've been fine. I haven't had a problem. So. But I only just recently did that. Prior to that, I was running an older version of their drivers. But because I've been working with the Unreal Engine and working with real-time ray tracing particularly, the older drivers were not behaving properly. They were crashing UE4. And since I've updated to the new drivers, I've had no crashes. So that's just why I mentioned maybe updating the drivers might be a good idea, because I found that it helped me with crashes I was getting in UE4. Alright, now we got to try and scale this so that we get a match. It doesn't have to be exact. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. So long as it's near enough is good enough. Because the center section is going to be a separate object anyway, because I've got to set it up for physics for a door. So long as we're close, we'll be good. I think we're pretty close. I'll just look at it from a couple of different angles to make sure. And the easiest way for me to do that will be for me to just temporarily move it to see what our alignment looks like. So our alignment looks pretty good on the side. Android Lust says, well, I probably should do that. I haven't updated yet, do. Like I said, I found when I was working with UE4, because I've been working with ray tracing, I was working on an older version of the Studio drivers that I hadn't updated for quite a few months, and it was crashing UE4. Since I've updated to the newest drive, well, to the latest Studio drivers, which is 441.66, I believe, I haven't had any crashes in UE4. So it helped me with my stability that I was getting, my instability, I should say, in UE4. And I knew it had something to do with the drivers because Unreal has been incredibly stable all the time I've generally used it. It's only now that I'm using ray tracing stuff that it was unstable on the old driver. Having said that, I've noticed Max feels much more snappy since they updated the driver. I haven't had a chance to play enough with Substance Painter yet to tell, but Max feels a bit better, and Unreal is certainly is behaving itself much better as well. And we're lined up on the top, so that's good. And we're going to call this bookcase UVW so that we know we've UV mapped it. Which means we have the old bookcase here that I can now remove. I do want to go into isolation mode because there are some polys that need to be cleaned up. We can see them a bit better here in Max. Again, these are left over from those archways. Going to be a little bit fiddly. I've just got to get in close here so I make sure I get all the polys and not get the ones in the background. Looks like I might have a little bit left there. You are going to be a pain, aren't you? Alright, so what I'm going to do is select, deselect. Make sure I don't have anything selected that I shouldn't. And delete. Android Lost says yesterday it was ZBrush, today it's Maya, but I'm sure that Maya crashes as user error from me using breaking XGen. Oh, well, where would be the fun if we didn't have some problems? As you know, nothing worthwhile doing is ever easy. Isn't that what they say? So, if it was easy, it wouldn't be worthwhile doing. That's right. I think that's how it goes. I think. I've been doing a lot of blueprint scripting in Unreal actually the last few days. I tend to do that stuff not on stream because it's incredibly boring for you guys to watch me trying to work out my blueprints and trying to set up all my blueprint scripting. That's why I do the visual stuff on stream. But it's incredibly satisfying when you have a problem and you work out how to fix it. That's one of the things I really love about programming. Not that scripting in blueprints is really programming, it's more of a visual programming, if anything. But it's still satisfying when you solve a problem that you've had. And I had this problem of one of the events for one of the game events was setting up an on-screen message, and it shouldn't have been. And it took forever to work that problem out, and I also had to program into the main menu a checkbox for ray tracing. So basically in the main menu you've got a checkbox that you can turn on if you want to turn ray tracing in the game on, or uncheck it if you want to turn it off. And that took about 3 hours to program in. I know it sounds like a long time for something quite simple, but it's not just a checkbox. Behind the scenes then it has to check to make sure you've got an RTX card, and it has to check to make sure that enable certain settings for ray tracing, because the game is not going to use every ray traced feature because it would slow to a crawl, to be quite honest with you. So certain features have to be disabled, certain ray tracing features have to be disabled, others have to be enabled, specific values have to be set for things like reflection distance and all that sort of stuff, and it took me 3 hours. But I got there in the end and I was incredibly happy. So now if people want to turn ray tracing on, all they got to do is hit a checkbox. Could not be simpler. They want to turn it on or turn it off. Android Lust says, check ray tracing, uncheck buy a new GPU. Yeah, well, I'm probably going to get crap when the game is released from people saying, I want the option to actually turn reflections on or turn global illumination on, or you know what I mean? They want to fine tune the ray tracing effect to them. Don't get me wrong, that is possible. It's a lot more programming work, but that is possible. At this stage, at least for these initial builds that are going out, it's just going to be a checkbox. If you want ray tracing and you have an RTX card, check the box. If you don't have an RTX card, or you do but you don't want ray tracing, uncheck the checkbox. There's plenty of other features for people to play around with if they want to fine tune their game. Like, you know, we give them options for everything from texture resolution to draw distance to, you know, all of that shadow quality. All of those are separate things that they can turn on and off and mix and match to their heart's content. But because ray tracing is such a fine-tuned thing to incorporate into a game, trust me, I don't really think it's wise to give people the option to actually mess with it too much. Simply because it's so new and it really does have to be finely balanced and tuned. I think that's something better left to the developers and not to the end users. Although I do know there are some games where you can turn reflections on, or you can turn ray trace shadows on and off, all that sort of stuff. Battlefield, I think that has I think you can do it in Battlefield or in Control. I think they give you those sort of broad options. They don't give you the fine-tuned options where you set, you know, your draw distance for your reflection or the number of rays for the reflections, all that sort of fine-tuned stuff. So that certainly won't be in the game, but I may relent and, depending on what my partners say, and put a bit more fine-tuning in for those that do want it. But at this stage, it's just a checkbox. You either have ray tracing turned on or you have it turned off. KISS. Keep it simple. Stupid. And yeah, I'm a little sad I can't show you guys ray tracing in the game. I can't though. I've been told not to. I've been told to wait. Ray trace reflections does look cool, I have to admit. Screen space reflections look cool too, don't get me wrong. I mean, I see a lot... see? Not used to talking. I see a lot of commentary when people look at screenshots of ray trace on, ray trace off. And some people say, oh, it looks better with ray tracing off. It really depends on the game and how the developers and the artists have set the environment up as to how good or how bad it looks. And certain environments will look better with ray tracing than others. So, you know, lots of water will look good because of reflections. Our game, of course, because we use a lot of tiled floors, looks quite good with ray trace reflections on because of all the tiles. Also the furniture, because of all the polished furniture. Having ray trace reflections really brings the level to life a little bit more, makes it look a bit more realistic. Having said that, those screen space reflections, if you don't have an RTX card, still look really cool as well. I mean, they've done an amazing job with screen space reflections. But ray trace reflections do look a bit more realistic. But it does really depend on the game and like I said, the environment and how the artists have set it up as to how good or how bad it looks when you turn ray tracing on. You do get a performance hit, I'm not going to lie. If you turn ray tracing on in any game, you are going to get a performance hit. Even using those dedicated cores on an RTX card, you're still, the video card's still calculating a lot of crap. So you're going to take a bit of a performance hit. The biggest performance hit is from global illumination, ray traced global illumination. That's, at least in the Unreal Engine, is, and they are improving at Epic Games. So it will get better. But at the moment, you take a really big hit if you turn that on. But Epic Games, I did update the project to 4.24, which is the newest version of Unreal. And in the new version of Unreal 4.24, you have screen space global illumination now. It's a new thing that Epic Games have included. And that looks really cool when you turn that on. So that will be in the game. Screen spaced global illumination. It won't be ray trace global illumination, simply because of the performance impact. So guys and girls, if you haven't tried it already, download the Unreal Engine, completely free. I know I'm preaching to you guys, and you guys already have, but for anyone watching that hasn't, download Unreal UE4. It's free. Or download Unity for that matter. I'm not suggesting you should only use UE4. They're free to download and use. You only pay Unreal if you sell something, if we make something commercially. So you can download it and use it completely free. Play around with it. It's a lot of fun. Particularly if you've got an RTX card and you want to mess around with some real-time ray tracing, it's fun. You will need a Windows 10 machine, of course, if you want to do ray tracing, because it needs DirectX 12, and DirectX 12 is only available on Windows 10. So if you're a Windows 7, 8 or 8.1 user, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you need Windows 10. You can't use ray tracing. But remember, Windows 7 is going end of life in about 1 day or two. There will be no more updates after the next update. That will be the final updates for Windows 7. Microsoft are depreciating it, so you can still update to Windows 10 free of charge. Upgrade, I should say. So if you're a Windows 7 user, you should upgrade to Windows 10. I love Windows 10. I've not had a problem with it since I've used it. My advice is, if you're a 7 user, unless there's some reason you really need to stay on Windows 7, you should update to Windows 10. It's a more secure operating system. Yes, there's a lot of telemetry stuff going on in the background. Yeah. That's true. There are programs you can install to block all of that, though, if you're really paranoid about Microsoft seeing what you're doing, or not that they're that interested. They're just getting telemetry to work out how to better make the software. They're not spying. I'm pretty sure they're not. But if it does bother you, you can install software to block all that. Smurfberry. Smurfberry says, poof. Yeah, I know. Look, I know a lot of you guys and girls love your Windows 7. I get it. I was a Windows 7 lover as well, and I still am. One of my notebooks upstairs, the one that I had to replace from the one that I spilled coffee in and decided to not work anymore. It's an older notebook, unfortunately. It's an Asus notebook, and I can't update to Windows 10. It's on Windows 7. I tried the other day. It gets all the way through downloading a 4.5 gigabyte file and setting things up. It takes like an hour and a half to get to that stage. Just for it to reboot, halfway through the reboot say, nope, blue screen, sorry, you can't upgrade to Windows 10. So I'm stuck on Windows 7 on my Asus notebook, but simply because I can't upgrade it. It's a bit too old now, the hardware. I don't use notebooks very much. I like desktop PCs. I like power. I want the power. Notebooks just aren't powerful enough for me. They're handy though if you want to go out and about to see clients, but apart from that, no. So I don't really care. But I did try. I tried to update it, but it wouldn't have it. It said no. Computer said no. Smurfberry says, don't make excuses for them. Euro, good to see you, Euro. How are you? Says Windows 7 Server 2008 and Server 2008 Revision 2 are end of service today. There you go. Today is the last day. End of service for Windows 7, Windows Server 2008 and Server 2008 Revision 2. So, look, my advice, guys, is unless there's a good reason you need to stay on Windows 7, upgrade to Windows 10. It's free. Download the update tool, run it from within your Windows 7 installation. It will take your Windows 7 key and let you upgrade for free. Who doesn't love free? We all love free stuff. And you get DirectX 12, which is coming along very nicely. DirectX 11 is very cool still, but DirectX 12 is performing really well on Windows 10 now. DirectX 12 is a big improvement over DirectX 11 with the amount of draw calls you can have. A lot of different functions and features in DirectX 12 have been improved from DirectX 11. So I would advise you to upgrade if that's my advice. Unless there's a reason you want to stay on Windows 7, upgrade to Windows 10. It's free. I mean, Android Lost says rest in peace. Yeah, and the fact that you can't get any more security updates for the operating system, and that, hackers are always finding new ways to hack into your machine. Microsoft are just saying, well, that's too bad now. If you're on Windows 7, then you're at risk. So that's another reason for security to upgrade to Windows 10. Von Buki, hey Von Buki, it's good to see you. Von Buki says, oh, that's sad. The idiots who protested at the Brisbane Library. The leader was a young LGBTQIA plus conservative. I have no idea how that works. And after social media backlash, he took his own life. Yeah, I heard about. I haven't looked into what that story is about completely. I know the news report that I saw said a bunch of they call them drag queens. Drag queens, guys that dress as women, went to read to children, and a young national, I think he was from the Young National Party, was heckling them, and he, I think, took his own life after a backlash on social media. So basically, these transgender or drag queens, transgender and drag queens, went to a library to read to children, or went to a school, I can't remember which, to read to children, which is nice. And this young national person, conservative national person, heckled them. And then there was a big backlash on social media against this young nationals guy for being such a prick, basically, to these people, to these LGBTQ people, that he ended up taking his own life. Now, it's never good when anyone takes their own life. I'm not saying it is. So I feel sad for him. I feel sad for his family. But it was sad that he was such... look, I don't know him. I don't know much about him. I was about to say that he was such a nasty person, but I don't know if he was or not. It's sad that he behaved that way towards these LGBTQ people, though. But equally sad that he took his own life. Whole thing is just sad. Yeah, so the political parties in this, they have, like they call the Young Nationals, the Young Liberals. They're basically people in waiting, younger people in waiting that want to get into the major party, that they're like, if it's National or Liberal. And they're both Conservative parties, by the way. So they set up these Young Nationals and Young Liberals party, which are generally people like around the age of 20 who want to have a career in politics at a later date with the major party. So they set these mini parties up for themselves to learn the ropes, so to speak. Euro says you can pay for an extra 3 years of support, which is meant for corporates dragging their heels, but after that, nothing. Yeah, but how much are they charging Euro for that support, for that 3 years of extra support? Microsoft aren't cheap. Their support is not cheap, trust me. Android Lust says, I have to look into that. Yeah, I've got to look into it too. Bambuki says it's a sad story. No winners, and there are no winners at all. No winners in that story at all. Just sad all around. I mean, it's terrible when anyone is bullied on social media and they take their own life. Or bullied in real life. Bullying in general is just terrible. And for anyone that gets bullied, to take your own life, it's just sad. It's really sad. And the people doing the bullying, I mean, I don't care what excuse you have for bullying people. It's never a good enough excuse. Now, and I know this person was anti-LGBTQ and had very strong views, but he didn't deserve to be bullied, didn't deserve to die or to take his own life. So just like the people that are LGBTQ and get bullied, it's sad if they take their own life because of it. Bullying is just bad in general. It's just not cool, not good. And social media, unfortunately, can make it much worse because, people are anonymous on social media. They can be. You can use a throwaway email address to create a Twitter account or a Facebook account. And if people think that they're not going to be held accountable, then they'll generally can become very nasty, which is a sad indictment on humanity, really. But anyway, there you go. Euro says no idea, but it's support, not updates. Well, there you go. So they'll help you if something breaks, but if a new vulnerability is found in the operating system, you're on your own. Sniper says, Microsoft support for what now? Euro says, I don't imagine it would be cheap. Memes is trying to end Windows 7 and use those resources on Windows 10 instead of having to support a legacy OS. Let's remember Windows 7. When was that released? Wasn't that in like 2012 or something? Or wasn't the end of life supposed to be in wasn't it a long time ago? Wasn't it like 7-8 years ago that Windows, maybe longer, Windows 7 was released? It's an old operating system. Windows 10 is everything good that Windows 7 had, with bells and whistles. I love Windows 10. I think Windows 10 is great. I don't understand people that don't want to upgrade. I mean, some companies don't because they have legacy software that will only run on Windows 7. I get that. But if you don't have software that you need to run on Windows 7, upgrade to Windows 10. Trust me, it's a good operating system. Euro says 2009. There you go. Over a decade. So Windows 7 is over a decade old. Now let's remember, this is an operating system. Now an operating system is something that runs all the software that you ever want to run on your PC. It controls all the hardware that's in your PC. It's a really, really vital, important part of using a PC. And you're using an operating system that's more than a decade old. Upgrade your operating system. It's free. Upgrade to Windows 10 for free. Just run the upgrade tool from Microsoft's download website. It's free. So long as you do it from within Windows 7. Don't try and do a fresh installation. It has to grab the key, your Windows 7 key, during the installation to make it free. But it's free. We love free. Come on. It's new. It's free. And Bumbuki says he was LGBT. Was he himself? I wasn't that sure of the story. I only heard it briefly on a news report. So Bumbuki's saying he was LGBTQIA. I honestly don't know how he thought the protest was a good idea to be. Neither do I. I mean, what's wrong with this person? So they're LGBTQ and they're protesting LGBTQ. That makes no sense. Look, it doesn't surprise me, but it makes no sense. Particularly with young nationals or young liberals, they're all closeted to begin with. They're not comfortable with their sexuality, these people, generally. That's generally the people that you find that protest LGBTQ. They're not comfortable in their own sexuality, so they feel the need to take it out on other people. End of topic. Bumbugi says, apology if it was just in front. No, that's cool. Look, it's an interesting thing, and it gave us a chance to talk about bullying and say how bad it was and not to do it. Whether you're on social media or in real life, don't bully people. Whoever they are, whether they deserve it, whether you think they deserve it or not, you do not bully people. A Euro says, also I saw some benches comparing games on Windows 7 to Windows 10, and Windows 10 was on average 10 frames per second higher than Windows 7. There you go. Listen to Euro. Upgrade to Windows 10. Do not stay on that Windows 7 anymore. You know that there are going to be security issues that are not going to be fixed now because Microsoft are not updating it. So, for the love of everything good, upgrade to Windows 10. Stay secure, particularly in this day and age. You never know, what site you might visit that gets you pawned or what email you might open that gets you hacked. And that's less likely on Windows 10 now than it will be with Windows 7. So unless you've got a good reason to stay on Windows 7, upgrade to Windows 10. I'm just checking to make sure I haven't got any other floating polygons here. And I think we're pretty clean. Alrighty, so this is UV mapped, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. I'm just going to collapse the stack. I'm going to throw another unwrap UVW down. That just reminds me that I have already UV mapped this piece of geometry. Just an easy, quick way for me to tell. I'm also just going to throw down a checker pattern to check the UV mapping. That's interesting. Okay. Trying to connect it to the wrong node. Duh. There we go. Let me just increase the checker pattern a little bit. So let's tile it 80 by 80. So I'm just checking the textile density to make sure the textile density looks correct. It looks pretty even. Should be good. Okay, let's remove the checker pattern. Let's go back out of isolation mode. Alright. What's next? Let's do a quick save before we do anything else. So let's do a save as. So I'll do an incremental save. And now we're at revision 4. Alright. Good. And yes, I did fix up the arches, as I said. I'll go into isolation to show you, to prove it. We remember we had those problems with a couple of the polygons being missing here. So I remade the arches. It was quicker for me to remake them than to actually try and fill the poly holes. Because all they are basically is a tube that I cut in half. Really. Max's tube here. That's how I made them. And it was quicker to do it, to remake them than to try and fix the problem. And the original problem was from when I did a poly reduction on the mesh. They weren't like that originally, but the polygon reduction must have got a bit confused. We do have to UV map this section now, so I'm just going to go into isolation mode. I'm going to clean it up because again we've got those floating polys before I start UV mapping it. It'll just be easier. February says it doesn't have to be an upgrade install. It doesn't? Are you sure? I thought if you didn't do it with problem within the operating system, it didn't pick up the key and therefore they wanted you to pay for it. But I haven't tried it for a while. Von Buki says unless it was a separate Windows 7 machine doing things like rendering only with no actual internet connection, even then though I'd still update it to Windows 10 because it just handles graphics and stuff a little bit better than Windows 7. It's newer. And there may become a time, even if it's just a rendering slave, that whatever software you're using to do your rendering with won't work on Windows 7. You never know. They might update the slave software and it might not work properly on Windows 7. Euro says even in that case, the improved hardware support, drivers, DirectX 12, APIs and Windows 10 would more than justify retiring a Windows 7 system. There you go. Euro said it much more eloquently than me, but that's incredible. That's what I was trying to say. Mercury says, even my strong Windows 7 holdout friend decided he should finally upgrade. You should upgrade. Don't hold on to Windows 7. Move to the future, don't hold on to the past. Euro says, a lot of modern chipset drivers also stipulate OS version minimums of Windows 10. And I've run into that problem as well in the past where I've tried to install some hardware on an older operating system and the drivers are just not available for it. So another good reason to update or to upgrade to Windows 10. Quit living in the past. Move to the future. Upgrade to Windows 10. Again, I just fly around the model to make sure I'm not selecting something to delete that I don't want to delete. And trust me, I've done it before. Getting a bit carried away and a bit quick with my selections, doing deletes, and then work away for a couple of hours, move around the model eventually and see that you've deleted a huge section from somewhere else by mistake. And that's never good. Okay, now I want to remove the handles from this because I don't want them as part of this export. They actually have to be attached to the doors. So so let's detach them. Jump back into isolation again, and I think that should be good. So again, I'm going to do a save, not an incremental, just a save. And let's see if we can send this over to Rhizome using the plugin, because doing an export and import is causing Rhizome all sorts of issues. So I'm just going to close Rhizome down before I try and export it. Let's open the plugin and let's give it a go. Euro says also the longer Windows 7 survives, the longer Internet Explorer survives. MS been trying to junk IE for over a decade. Have you used Internet Explorer recently? I actually think it might still be included in Windows 10, I'm not sure. But man, is it bad compared to... see now, this is the reason we didn't export the other way, because it doesn't like this model very much. The plugin, it's not the model, it's the plugin. The plugin is a bit flaky. I didn't write it. It's free to download the plugin, but it's a bit flaky, and you can see what it's doing here. And that was the reason we didn't export last time, so we're going to have to do an export again. We can't work with it like this. So we can't use the plugin. The plugin's okay for some geometry, but the more complex the geometry, the more problems that plugin has. So we're just going to export selected. I'm just going to create a new folder called middle, just so I don't get confused with all the other exports we've got going on. And we're going to call it bookcase middle. It's actually a door, but we'll call it middle. Been exported as an FBX. Von Buki says, which is a shame. I would almost like Internet Explorer to make a comeback now that Chrome has become such a resource hog. And even the new version of Microsoft's browser, Edge, the one that's still in development, that's going to be released, I think, with the next update to Windows 10, they're moving to a Chrome OS model. So they're using the Chrome backend on Edge now. Edge is really fast on Windows 10. The current version, not the Chrome version that they're working on. I don't know why Microsoft are doing that, because Edge behaves really fast. It's probably one of the fastest browsers I've used. It feels really snappy, really, really good compared to Chrome. But Microsoft are even converting that Edge into the Chrome backend operating system thingy. And Chrome is not getting, every new version of Chrome makes, I think, Chrome worse now. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. Firefox is pretty snappy. I've got 3 installed. I've got Chrome, Firefox and Edge. Edge comes with Microsoft Windows 10, of course. Generally I use Chrome, but I've been using Firefox a bit more recently, and Firefox has come a long way. It's pretty snappy, pretty cool. I wouldn't use Internet Explorer though, the original. No. Euro says, no, new Edge is going to be Chromium based. Yeah, it's on the insider ring, testing it at the moment, so it should be in the next main branch update. Euro says, Internet Explorer is terrible from a web dev side, having to ensure your web apps are still compatible with that dinosaur. Tell me about it, it's a real pain. Because I do web design stuff as well, and even as a designer, having to make sure stuff doesn't break in Internet Explorer is a pain, because Internet Explorer is a dog. It's a real dog. And it should die. Die and die quickly. So I'm with you, Euro. I'm glad to see it going. Because it's a dog. And you see, when we import it, normally it's fine. It's just that plugin that causes problems for some reason. And hey, I can't bitch because the plugin's free. So I can't really complain. But I can and I do. Let's start UV mapping this beastie up. Beastie. That's because I watched Maleficent, Mistress of Evil or whatever it was, Maleficent 2 I watched one of that as well. And I got Beastie stuck on the brain now. Let's go with this one for the sunroof. I'm trying to think if there are any other movies I watched while I was on break. So I watched the Witcher series, watched The Expanse new season. What else? There was something else, I'm sure. Watched New Zombieland, watched the new Maleficent. Can't remember, it's gone. I think there was another series I binged watched, but I can't remember what it was. Can't have been that good if I can't remember what it was. So that's my TV viewing for the next 6 months. There'll be nothing but work now. I've been my couch potato for 3 weeks while I was on break. No more of that. All 3D. 3D all the way, all the time. As Android Lust says, 3D is life. Euro says, did you watch Lost? Oh, Lost in Space. That was the other one. Thank you. How did you know? You're reading my mind. Lost in Space. I watched season 2 of Lost in Space. Yep. That was the other season. I knew it was something. I'm actually looking forward to the new season of Altered Carbon. I wish Netflix would hurry up and release a new season of that because I really liked the first season of Altered Carbon. It's another really good sci-fi show. Interesting story. Just as good as The Expanse. I'd say The Expanse and Altered Carbon were probably my two favourite sci-fi shows. Lost in Space is more family friendly. It's cool. The robot's cool in Lost in Space. The design and stuff is really nice, really interesting, really creative. The stories were very Dr. Smith heavy, which I didn't really like that much. Yeah, but it was good. The effects are well done. Android Lust says, I didn't watch anything. My plan was to watch something over my break. Oh no, that's no good. Well, you watch something now, Android Lust. Why didn't you watch anything? Euro says, it's out at the end of this month. Oh, seriously? Are you saying that the new Altered Carbon is coming out at the end of this month? If that's true, then I'm over the moon. I'll be so happy. Because I love Altered Carbon. Another great sci-fi show. Euro says, yeah, 31st for Season 2, Episode 1. Way to go. That's the best news I've had all day. Thank you for that, Euro. I'm looking forward to the new Altered Carbon. Because it's taken a couple of years. Season 1 was released a couple of years ago. So I hope that means that they've done a really good job like they did with Season 1. Because Season 1 was really well done. I'm sure it's a cash cow for Netflix, so I'm sure they've done a good job. It's like, you know, the cash cow Stranger Things for Netflix. They wouldn't risk doing a bad job. They know how much money it makes, how much money it brings in for people with subscriptions to Netflix. So that's excellent news. I'm looking forward to the new Altered Carbon. Oh yes, Lost in Space was the one I was trying to think of. Can't believe I forgot what it was called. Can't believe I forgot the show. I blame the wine. I blame those 2 bottles of wine. It killed all those brain cells that remembered what the shows were that I watched. That's my excuse anyway. It's really humid here today as well, really warm, hot weather. It's not humid, it's dry, but sorry. Hot is what I meant to say. It's really hot here today. It was hot last night. I hate hot weather when you're trying to sleep is the worst. It's the worst. So I didn't get a very good night's sleep last night, unfortunately. Yuri says, yeah, a lot of those shows Netflix pays for the first season and weighs up reception on whether they'll do further seasons. Yeah, well, they get all of the data from people watching, how many people watch and how long they watch for and all that sort of stuff. When you're a Netflix subscriber, they've got all that information, so they know what works and what doesn't. I also read something else interesting statistics-wise with Netflix shows. Netflix tend to really only do seasons up to season 3. They don't generally pay for more seasons past 3 seasons. The show's got to be pretty good for Netflix to greenlight it for a 4th season. I'm sure Stranger Things will get a 4th season. I'm pretty sure I read that they are doing a 4th season, because that's 3 seasons now. So yeah, if it gets past 3 seasons, Netflix, it has to be making Netflix money, otherwise they generally discontinue the show. Which is fair enough, I guess. Why would they want to invest in something that makes them no money? Still, I'm sure there were some people that would have enjoyed the show, the shows that they cancelled because it's because they don't think that enough people are watching them. Not every show appeals to every person. Euro says they missed a beat by not snapping up the Expanse. I agree. I did read that Netflix decided that they think the reasoning behind it was that Netflix have their own in-house sci-fi shows like Lost in Space, like Altered Carbon, that they didn't need another sci-fi show. I was surprised. I would have thought it would have been a great thing for Netflix to grab, particularly considering how many people loved the show and how many fans said how much they loved the show. I thought Netflix would have picked it up. Maybe they were thinking about it, but Amazon just beat them to the punch. I don't know. It was strange. I'm actually looking forward to... Amazon is supposed to be having a Lord of the Rings series on Amazon Video, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like as well, because I really like the Lord of the Rings story. So if Amazon can do a good job of a series based on the Lord of the Rings, then that'll be cool. They've got to do a good job though. If they do a half-assed job or a bad job, well, no one's going to watch it. But Mr. Bezos was very smart grabbing The Expanse. Because, I binged, not binged, but I rewatched the first 1, 2 and 3 seasons of The Expanse again before I started season 4, just so I could refresh my mind on what happened. So I'm sure it's proved very popular for Amazon. Because it's a great show. It should be popular. It should be popular on Amazon with people. What I like about The Expanse as far as sci-fi goes is it's a realistic, it's believable as far as the effects go and being in space, and I like the storyline because it's an adult storyline. It's not like shows like Firefly, which, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people love Firefly, but it's not like Firefly or Dark Matter or any of those other sci-fi shows that are more aimed towards kids than they are adults. That's one of the reasons I really like The Expanse. It's an adult sci-fi show. It's not aimed at kids. I'm not saying kids can't watch it, but it's not aimed at children. We need more adult stuff, less kids or teenage trash. I call it teenage trash, most of the stuff that's made now. Kontigi says, I love The Expanse. Good, Kontigi, because we love The Expanse too. It's a great sci-fi show. So, I'm glad you love it as well, Kontigi. Euro says, the writers keep the space science realistic. And you can tell, that's, again, one of the reasons it's one of the best sci-fi shows. It's believable. And the stories are interesting as well. Like, storyline is with the proto-molecule, it's an interesting story. And the ring gate. I mean, that's just a really cool sci-fi story to explore. So they can do so. I haven't read the books because, again, it's all based on a series of books. The idea of the ring gate and the proto-molecule, it's a good science fiction idea story. An interesting story. That's what I'm trying to say. Kontigi says, had a lot of grit. Yeah, I like that too. Like the first RoboCop and the other early 90s grit movie genres. Yeah, that's true. When he says grit, it's like it's grunge. Everything's dirty. Everything's not brand spanking clean and new. I'm sorry to my American friends, but a lot of American shows tend to do that. They tend to make everything too clean and too perfect, and these people don't even go to the toilet, sort of thing. Whereas The Expanse is gritty and real. And that's the other thing I like about it too. So I'm right with you, Kontigi. That's another reason I like it too. Much more realistic. I'm not just singling out Americans here. There are English that do the same thing as well with their shows. They make everything too clean. How many times have I said to you guys with your 3D modelling, don't make your stuff too clean. It's not real. It looks fake. If it's too clean, it looks fake. And that goes for shows as well. Make everything dirty, because that's what real life is. Euro says, don't go too OP on the dirt though, unless there's more. So no, look, I'm not suggesting you make everything completely filthy. You make it like it's ready to fall apart at any minute. No, unless that's the look you're going for. So I'm not suggesting that. But you do want to make you want to make things dirty. You don't want them perfect. You don't want them clean. You don't want them like they've been made in a clean room, so there's no dust has ever settled on them or anything like that. You want to dirty them up a little bit. It makes the model look more interesting. It makes the model look more realistic, and it makes the model more interesting. So, not just you don't just benefit because it looks more realistic. You benefit because it makes the model more interesting to look at. If it's a bit damaged or a bit dirty. We're not talking major grunge, mega grunge, but unless that's the look you want or you're going for. So yeah, I work for an ArchViz studio, and we do renders of new apartment buildings, brand spanking new, but even those we tend to add imperfections to, like the marble of the kitchen benches or the colour in the wall. We don't make it just a straight colour. We add a bit of imperfection everywhere, even though it's meant to be a brand spanking new apartment, say, or house or interior. We always add a bit of imperfection, a bit of dirt, just to make it more realistic. The client doesn't know. The client just sees an image that looks real. Whereas if you don't add that imperfection or that dirt, it looks fake because it just doesn't look realistic. Even a brand spanking new place that's just been built is going to be dirty. That's just the way the world is. Everything's dirty. So if you want it to be real, make it a little bit dirty. And again, I'm not suggesting you go overboard, but just a little bit. Makes it more believable. And not just dirt, but a bit of damage as well. I went into all of this when we were working on the House in the Hollow, the game that I'm doing now. When we were importing and exporting models for the building and stuff, I made things less perfect. Any model I make, don't make it perfect. I make it imperfect. Not everything is completely the same distance apart, even though that's really easy to do in an array in a 3D program. Because generally the real world isn't like that. Legmog, it's good to see you, Legmog. Says, the fires have gotten you. I know, the fires have gotten you. To Phil and the rest of Australia, Happy New Year. As the 90s M People song goes, things can only get better. It's good to see you, Legmog. Did you have a good Christmas, a good New Year? What did you get up to? Who have you been talking to overseas what dates have you been having online now, Legmog? Tell us. But it's good to see you, buddy. I hope you're well. I hope you had a good Christmas and a good New Year. How's your pilot coming along? Again, Legmog is creating a pilot episode. How's that all going? Maybe you've taken I took 3 weeks off. I did basically nothing. I was telling the guys that I turned into a vegetable and watched a lot of TV and movies while I was on break because I needed to recharge. So I get it if you didn't do anything. Or if you've slowed down a little bit. Because I did nothing for 3 weeks. Well, that's not true. I caught up with friends and stuff as well. And like I said, I needed to recharge. So I refuse to feel guilty about it. But I'm raring to go now. Legmug says, I did, yes, Christmas and New Year's were very by the numbers. Without children or a large extended family, it's basically cook a meal and play heads up. Well, that's the best. That's the best thing to do. That's a fun day for me. And no children sounds. So I'm just sorry. I'm being distracted here. I'm just looking at my handles here, and I think I may have to pull them in. They look like they're floating just above the door. I'll do that when we jump back into Max. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of having no children. You can be selfish and do whatever you want, whenever you want. At least that's what I like. If I want to stay up until 3 in the morning with my music really loud, I can. If I want to have ice cream for breakfast, I can. All of these sort of things. Whereas if you had children, you have to set an example. It's not possible. Who wants to do that? Who wants to be a responsible adult? When you can be a selfish, irresponsible one. Legmark says yes, did 3 dates. I must have been doing something right because the girls were actually keen this time, but I myself wasn't feeling it, so I left. I felt horrible, but I had to let them all down. Oh, you're a heartbreaker, Legmark. You're such a heartbreaker. You know, don't let a good one go by searching for the perfect one. You might never find the perfect one. Legmark says that was over November, early December though, so I may have already mentioned. No, you don't think you did mention that actually. Yeah, don't pass up a good one looking for the perfect one because you might never find the perfect one. It's hard to find perfection. But if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. So I'm not suggesting to be with someone that you don't feel it for, because that's not good for you or them. If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. I want to see if there's a different unwrap here that might be a little better. Yeah, I think we're using this one because I want the one seam line for these handles. Legmark says, oh no, I've read that, okay. So I think we might have already finished. I don't think there's any other UV mapping on this piece that we need to do. Again, I'm losing my voice. I'm not used to talking. Now it's going to be interesting to see if we can send this back to Max. So what I'm going to try and do is save it as, because we can't send it, we didn't use the plugin. So we'll call it bookcase middle underscore UV. Let's jump back into Max and see if we can import it. Let's jump out of isolation mode. Bookcase middle UV. Again, it just does not look like it wants to import it. Why is that? It's very, very strange. Why is Ryzen doing that? Legmark says, one thing I did notice was I wasn't matching with anyone in my city, so I narrowed my results so only Bristol showed up. And good lord, Bristol has possibly become the most workplace in the entire UK. Legmark also says, not saying that it's bad at all, but 9 out of 10 women from Bristol are seemingly gender fluid, non-binary, non-monogamous. Married or in long-term relationships but looking for another at the same time. So they're cheating on their husbands. That's not good. It's not good at all. Gender fluid, that's cool. I don't know if I don't think I approve of people cheating on their partner though. You know, if you're not happy in your relationship, well then get a new partner. Don't stay in the relationship. Trying to work out why Ryzen is having such a problem with exporting FBXs. I'm just going to see if there's anything in the preferences that might be causing an issue. I don't think there is from memory. No, the preferences here don't really have anything to do with exporting, so I'm going to have to export it as an OBJ and we're going to have to do what we did last time. So enable export as an OBJ. Very strange. Strange why it's having a problem in doing an well, or either that or why Max is having such a problem importing an FBX. Well, I'm just going to check in SAP, which is, again, software I don't recommend you guys use. It's meant for CAD modeling, so we use it in the Archivist Studio, and I use it to do conversions between different model formats. I'm going to see if I can load it up in SAP and see if SAP has a problem with it. It's incredibly expensive software, and again, it's really only good for people that do a lot of CAD stuff. So let me find where we exported them. So I'm trying to work out if it's a problem with Ryzen or a problem with Max. Okay, so this one is the OBJ. I want to check the FBX. So now we can see here there's no problem with the actual FBX file. Ryzen did export it without a problem. Max is having a problem importing it for some reason, which is very odd. Very, very odd. So I know the problem is in Max here for some reason. I'm just going to just do a save here. I'm going to new all, and let's try importing it in an empty scene. FBX version. Because I did update the Max to update 3. It was released a few weeks ago. I'm just wondering if that's caused any problems. Sorry, I got to catch up with my chat. Legmark says, oh well, non-monogamy is all the rage these days, so it seems like both partners agree to pursue romance relationships with other people like it's agreed upon that they both do it. Look, if you're both agreeing to it, have at it. Far be it for me to tell people how to live their lives. Listen, you do what makes you happy. You people that otherwise known as polygamy, Legmog says. Oh, polyamory. Sorry, not polygamy, polyamory. Legmog says, Phil, you want to email me this FBX and I'll see if I can open it in Cinema. And if it works, I'll spit it out as an OBJ. Actually, I got Ryzen to export it as an OBJ as well. I'm just wondering why Max is having a problem importing it. That's what I'm trying to work out here at the moment. Why the... look. Max had no problem importing it on its own. It does not want to import it though. I know why. This is something if you're a Max user to be aware of. If the model you're importing up here is the same name as a model that you've already got in the scene, Max won't import it. Something to be aware of. And I should have remembered. I've run into this problem before. But thanks for the offer of Legmop. I would have taken you up on that if I hadn't worked out what was going on. Sniper says, didn't we figure this? Yes, we did. That's right, Sniper Echo, and I forgot. Legmop says, yo, Snipes. Euro says, could be the Ryzen Mech, weird unless it's a material thing. There it is. That's right, because we had this problem last time, as Sniper Echo says. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save as, I'm going to save it as a Max file in the bookcase folder, in the Ryzen export, in the middle, so I don't get confused with all my Max files. And we're going to call it middle UV for middle UV'd. Now I'm going to reopen the one we were just working on, which is Final R4. Now I should be able to merge, even though we didn't rename it because I'm not using the FBX import. I can select it and Max will auto rename it for me, and it's put it over where the old one was. We're going to call this bookcase door. Let's see, what's the other one called? The other one's called just bookcase door 01. We're just going to call bookcase door UVW. Now I can select the old one, which is just bookcase door, and we can delete it. And again, I'm just going to throw down an unwrap and get Max to pack my UV maps. And just wait for Max to do that. Legmark says you can't bring something in if it's the same name as something else. No, you can, like you just saw me do it there with my Max file. But if you're importing a model and it's an FBX file, no. Max says no. It just refuses to import it because it looks at the scene. It says you've got something named bookcase. It looks at the file, the FBX you're trying to import, and you're trying to import a model called bookcase, so it doesn't import it. But it will if you've got bookcase in your Max scene and you merge another Max file with the same name, then it will auto rename it for you. I don't know why it doesn't do it with FBX, but it doesn't. It just doesn't do it. It doesn't give you an error message, it just doesn't do it. So you're left wondering what's going on, which is really helpful of the FBX format there. I'm just going to assign the checker pattern back to this so I can check my texel density. Let me assign it to the right thing. Let me assign the material. There we go. I'm just going to go into isolation mode. And I'm just checking to make sure my texel density looks correct. And that looks fine. So let's get rid of the checker pattern now. Okay. And let's do a save. We got there in the end. That's the important thing. Took a while, but we did get there in the end. Legmug says, thank goodness Phil didn't read the last bit of my previous message. What's this? That must be why the mansion has no bathroom or kitchen. Well, you know it has a bathroom. I put a bathroom in. I showed you the bathroom being made live on Twitch. The mansion has a bathroom. It doesn't have a kitchen yet, but it will. Cheeky, so cheeky. Ooh, you get a Phil slap. So cheeky. That's for you, Legmug. It has a bathroom. It even has a gold toilet seat. So there you go. Android Lust says bathroom with a Trump toilet. That's right. We even made it a gold toilet. Gold toilet seat and toilet lid. They're all solid gold. Oh. And we'll probably end up putting an outhouse somewhere out in the forest when we move out to the more environment stuff. But I think we might leave it there for today, guys and girls. I do want to thank you all, though, very much for hanging out with me and welcoming me back from my break. It's been good to see all you guys. I'm glad you had a good Christmas and New Year, and I do appreciate you guys being here to welcome me back and watching the stream. Euro says you're going to put that thunder box in a garden for the staff to use. Euro. Sniper Echo says, here's to Autodesk 2021 fixing the important thing. I mean, it's in their proprietary format and other software seems to have it working right. Tell me about it. They made FBX. Autodesk made the FBX format. And it can't import a model if the model in the scene you're being imported to has the same name. What's that all about, Autodesk? Come on. I must remember that because I'm going to run into that problem again. So I really have to make a mental note to remember about that. I'll be back on again tomorrow though, guys. 5 p.m. Pacific time. We'll pick things up where we left them off here, and we'll take this into Substance Painter and start doing some texturing. Thank you guys for watching. My pleasure. I will, hopefully your internet will be better tomorrow too, Android Lust. I will see you guys tomorrow. You guys take care and have a good night. See you guys.